Good day, my name is Mike Hoey. I'm here to talk about the very important issue of public transportation for our city. As you can guess, I will be discussing a subway system. I'll be covering a brief history of the city's transportation, and also, is there a need for a change? This proposed system and compared to what, and then costs and funding. About 100 years ago, this map shows our city's transportation system. It was a cable car system, second largest in the U.S., second only to San Francisco. Later, this track system was converted to electric traction, or as we say, streetcars. This worked well from the 1910s into the 1950s. Then, after World War II, came the now and great American transportation system, the automobile. Here is the author taking a ride on the last car to Dodson from Waldo in 1956. The rapid expansion of the automobile brought about a demand for more and better highways. Here is a Jackson County master plan dated 1956. It's hard to talk about automobiles without mentioning its driving power source, petroleum and gasoline. And even though efficiency has improved, the amount of fuel used has increased dramatically. Our present transportation system is entirely dependent on the automobile and buses, all using gasoline and oil. Shown here are some everyday occurrences with this system. 4-lane superhighways are bumper to bumper during rush hour. Multi-story parking garages required for major building construction. Big buses lined up blocking traffic. As engineers, we look for solutions, and the easiest solution is to do nothing. But what does doing nothing cost? Oil reserves go down and prices go up. Traffic increases, and with it, pollution also increases. Community development is a complex equation that requires good transportation. With good transportation, property values increase, the economy increases. The opportunity for good transportation is here. Here are current energy curves put out by the Department of Energy. The picture is not good, the fuel supply is in trouble. Here's another energy supply and reserve chart called the Hubbard depletion curve. This chart is put out by the Oil Depletion Analysis Center, who have accurately predicted oil output for decades. The picture is not good, the world supply is going down. Meanwhile, back in good old Kansas City, what's happening to public transportation and buses? The chart shows bus ridership compared to gasoline prices. As gasoline prices peaked in 1981, so did bus ridership. But since that 1981 peak, bus ridership has fallen in half. This trend suggests public dissatisfaction with the current bus system. A subway system has stations out of the weather and a transportation system that is faster and safer than surface travel. Engineers love charts, and this one is about pollution in various cities in the U.S. Some cities have made great strides improving their air. Kansas City in red has great air. Atlanta, on the other hand, is a city similar in size to Kansas City, but it has air pollution. In fact, in 1999, Atlanta's air pollution was greater than LA's. But Atlanta began working to control pollution, and it worked. One thing they did was to double the size of the subway system. Now Atlanta is even with Kansas City in air quality. Subway systems have made a great impact on their communities. Stores and businesses near subway stations benefit from increased pedestrian traffic. Demand for housing near subway stations is expected to more than double in the next 25 years. Property values near subway stations are increased by an average of 10% due to greater accessibility and convenience, and sites near subway stations are more likely to receive investment for development than other sites. Kansas City is 12th most segregated city in the U.S., according to Mark's 2001 Metro Outlook. Rail systems provide greater access to jobs, shopping, entertainment, and culture for those who cannot afford or do not wish to own cars. A high-speed rail corridor in Kansas City would save public transit users time, enhancing the quality of life. Low-income areas near or linked to rail transit benefit from appreciation greater than high-income areas. Transit systems create jobs. MARTA in Atlanta employs over 4,300 people. So far, we have seen some of the reasons for a subway. Here's our proposed system map. And the system could be expanded to the north, to the airport, and to the south to Grandview and even to Belton. Here are some quick facts of the system. High-speed heavy rail cars for speeds up to 80 miles an hour. Heavy rails designed to limit noise. Overhead DC lines for speed and power and capable of dynamic braking. Large 400-foot stations similar to some European with surface access by elevators and escalators. Here are some pictures where stations could be located. In the upper left, Commerce Square near Delaware and Main and the downtown library. In the upper right, Washington Square near Union Station, Liberty Memorial, and Crown Center. In the lower left, Mill Creek Station on the plaza, and then Westport Square, where many activities are located. Here's a list of the stations with a column listing A, showing the population within an easy 4-block walking distance, and B, the station depth from the surface, which in some cases is significant. All stations have escalators and stairways. Stations 10 and 13 were indicated to be not built to reduce cost. Station costs around $40 million are a fair part of the total. Kansas City has a continuous undulating surface, but the geology is very good for a subway system. The rock layers are flat and high quality. To maintain high speeds, the tunnels are straight and flat. Twin 17-foot diameter tunnels will be bored mainly through Bethany Falls limestone. 8 foot of Bethany Falls will be left as the structure and ceiling, while the tracks will rest on Hertha limestone. Drilling 17-foot holes through solid rock for miles is no small task. It is heavy construction. Here is the machine that does it, the tunnel boring machine. Electric powered with hydraulic controls that push it through the rock. How does it do that? It can bore through medium hard rock at speeds of greater than 100 feet per day at lower cost than conventional drilling and blast mining. Uses electrical power, which will be supplied by local utilities. Makes a smooth structural sound bore through unfractured limestone such as the Bethany Falls. Muck is removed by conveyor belt and rail and can be used for cement and gravel. More than one tunnel boring machine may be used to shorten construction time. It would take 3 years for one machine to bore 22 miles of tunnels, but if 2 machines were used, it would take 18 months. Public transportation. What are the alternatives? A present system of buses, a proposed surface system of light rail streetcars, which are not as fast, leading to surface clutter and snarl and greater operating costs, or my proposed system of high-speed subway. The biggest advantage of the subway during both construction and operation is limited surface disruption. Other advantages include faster travel time, higher volume, fewer emissions, lower per passenger operating costs, and increased attractiveness of the area for investment. And it is a permanent system. Disadvantages being higher construction cost, longer construction time, and fewer stops. Here's a quick list of the elements considered when figuring the estimated costs. More detail is available in the report. Once the system is built, there are costs to operate it. Criteria developed by the Federal Transit Authority was used. Administrative costs are the biggest portion of the costs. The revenue adjustment, 81%, accounts for pass cards, fare discounts, and gate jumpers. This chart gives details on operating costs. Our proposed system shows trains operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Under normal conditions, we estimate 129,000 maximum riders per day, but if demand increases, more trains could be added and headways decreased. So we understand the system and how much it will cost, but where will all that money come from? The federal government could provide from 50% up to 80% grants under the New Starts criteria for construction. You may not be aware of the federal program called New Starts. This program is operated by the FTA and is approved by Congress and can pay up to 80% of the construction costs. Invest in the future. Pollution, traffic, and urban sprawl are all byproducts of our reliance on automobiles. These conditions will worsen if current trends are not changed. However, they are not yet severe in Kansas City. Competition for federal funding for transit projects is increasingly stiff, and as the value of such systems becomes apparent. Kansas City is in danger of falling behind as other cities modernize their transportation systems. The time to invest in smart growth and rail transportation is now. Okay, that's our story. I would like to hear any questions or comments.